Welcome to Storybound, where we are diving into Book 2 of the First Law trilogy written by Joe Anaconda, Before They Are Hanged. This video will be split into two parts. First, my impressions and thoughts, and a spoiler section which will contain spoilers for this novel and possibly the first. Please like and subscribe for more weekly videos. Please comment down below for what you would like to see next on the channel, or your thoughts about the First Law series as a whole. Without further delays, let's dive into this. Joe Anaconda has a way of writing that makes even the most mundane scene seem to have urgency and importance. The way we get into the anxiety of people's heads, the distrust, the double talk in everyone's words. Everyone in this world is seemingly on edge, and the way that it's written places an urgency into the scenes that just keeps me on the edge of my seat from page to page. The slow burn style that just lives in scenes with people is fantastic. I know people tend to complain about Joe and plot, but who cares when we have these amazing characters? This rich world and these ultra vague, slow burn revelations about the lies and the plague of this realm, I'm deeply enjoying it and I'm incredibly intrigued. It's pretty obvious now, there is a secret of the past. We hear more about this band of characters. We'll most likely have to deal with it at some point, on top of the looming war fronts across the countries. The cast of the book is mostly the same, but with more time spent with each, leading to some really fun dynamics between these deeply different and flawed characters. If you liked The Blade itself, you're gonna love this novel. It's more of the same tone, gritty, brutal failures middled with minor victories at the expense of great loss for our characters. The great battle is looming, Bethod's forces are closing in, and we're gonna get one hell of a climax in the last argument of kings. So, those were my quick, non-spoiler thoughts. So, here is your spoiler warning. Let's go a bit deeper. Thoughts. The story, and the book overall. One thing has been bothering me throughout book 1 and 2, in a particular arc for the character, Bias. It continues in this story and his arc, and there's just something about his tone, how friendly he comes across at times, and then the quick snap of direction he takes when dictating to people of his plan and things that need to happen a certain way, or when someone tries to openly contradict him. I find in a novel like this where everyone has such a kind of quote-unquote clear motivation, Bias's bothers me the most. There's something about the seed, how he talks to Logan and Pharaoh, and even how his disciple Kwai is acting in this book. He's up to some shady shit, and I can feel it. Glokta continues to be the best character in the book, and I already threatened Lost in Discovery and Flockavelli / Jimmy Nuts that if he dies, I will never forgive them for introducing me to this series. His task of defending the city of Dagazga, the investigation into the previous Inquisition member's death, and his preparations for the ensuing siege. I love this contrast of his torturous heritage, how he uses it to get information or force truths to his favor, his lack of trust for the entire city's hierarchy, and the shady deals he needs to make to take control of the city and its forces. The dealing with the mercenary groups and the bank, Valent and Bulk, to fund the war investigation efforts. I'm not sure which one of these or both will come to bite him in the ass, but I can't wait to see how he weasels his way out of it. Amidst the Gurkish breaching the city, these forces are what seem to be Glokta's first encounter with an eater, in which he narrowly escapes. It would have been kind of interesting to see the rumored soldier of fame fight during his prime, but I do continue to love how people just seem to completely underestimate him time and time again, and how he manages to keep making it out on top, or at least taking serious risks to give the illusion of his victories. We get some more time with Pharaoh, her budding, let's call it, relationship with Logan, and some information about her questionable past, and some hints towards why she is important to the mission, why her, specifically Logan, and Baez are going to find the seed, this magical artifact from the old world. She continues to be untrusting, and I still feel she could lean either way on the spectrum in terms of sticking with what we could loosely call the good guys in these novels. So I'm still on the fence with her, but I am enjoying the small arcs we do get with her. We spend a bit more time with Wes, who ends up being sent to what was supposed to be a safe mission defending the Crown Prince, and ends up being forced into battle with the aid of the Northmen, specifically Three Trees, the Dogmen, and their group. In a rage during the battle, Wes actually bites the nose off a man, leading to him becoming named, like many of the Northmen, as Furious. So Furious also catches the Crown Prince having his way with some women after he hears some screaming in their tent, and Wes finds himself calmly walking up to the prince and pushing him off a cliff, essentially assassinating the Crown Prince. Kwai in this novel is particularly odd. He's a lot quieter, don't seem to have the same kind of dynamics he had previously with Logan or with Baez, and it just kind of leads me to my earlier thoughts about something is up with Baez. Logan, however, continues to work through his baggage and seems to be wrestling with how to move forward and what he essentially wants. We do, however, get to truly meet the Bloody Nine during the duel with Fenris the Feared, which was super fun. It was a great fight. But other than that, and the revelation of his kind of pseudo-personalities, not a ton of information was shed about Logan yet. Giselle Dan Luther, however, I have such a weird love-hate relationship with this man. I loved how he cowered in fear during his battles. I love his relationship with Logan and how he's viewing him almost as a mentor now, to when he gets his face smashed in during a battle and almost dies. I love his arc. I love how pathetic he is, how overconfident he can be, how much he's learning as he goes, and how desperately in love he is with someone who will probably never make him happy. It's such an interestingly pathetic character who I can feel is growing and is actually becoming one of my favorite characters next to Glokta. Kind of the surprise characters in this one for me were Dogman and Three Trees and the other Northmen. So this was kind of a nice view into the dynamics of these characters, the trust they have for each other, the baggage they carry, and the ability to put it aside for the missions they're on. How quickly they can go from putting someone into the mud to having blind devotion to the next member of the team who takes over. We don't get a lot of time with Three Trees, and perhaps we won't get a ton of time with the Dogman as the new captain, but I really enjoyed these chapters. They are at times brutal, sometimes hilarious, and oftentimes quite sad to see what they all have to deal with when it comes to the men of the North and knowing nothing but war. Final thoughts. This was another amazing outing, and an ever so stronger outing than the first. For the trilogy, this novel is bleak and fun somehow. I just enjoy being a bug on the wall as I peer into these terrible lives of these people and how they struggle to barely survive. I can't imagine the torturous adventures Joe Anaconda has for us in the next novels, and I'm trying to catch up with everybody, but I get vibes we're going to have this kind of Griffith in Berserk moment for anybody who knows what that means. I feel like Pharaoh and Baez are kind of my tag team for having that type of revelation, but this has been another dive into the First Law series by Joe Anaconda before they are hanged on Storybound. If you want to share your thoughts or provide any other book recommendations, please do so in the comments down below. Please like and subscribe, and as always, have a good one.